welcome to another Coach's Corner. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us what it is that you do here at university?
Sure thing. I am Ben Carter. I'm the assistant principal down in the discipline office. In addition to discipline, I also oversee athletics and activities. Um, Good gracious, campus advisors, safety and security, you name it. I do a little bit of everything.
Yeah, you wear all kinds of hats there. Pretty much, if somebody's got a problem, go see Carter.
Come
So,
find me.
yeah, yeah. And how long have you been at university?
I've been at university. This will be pretty much 2.5 years. I like to round up. So 3 years. I came in as a TOA to take over for Mr. Martello. And by some fortune and some hard work, they found it necessary and a good idea to make me an AP here. So been an AP for 2 years at UHS.
Okay, and how many total years have you been in the county, and at what other type of positions in the county?
Yeah, I've been in Volusia County for about 6 years now. Um, well, maybe closer to five. But before I came over to university, I was a IB and AP English teacher over at DeLand High School. And before that, I was at Ed White High School up in Jacksonville, where I taught everything from intensive reading up to IB English, was the IB coordinator at that school for a short time before family said it was time to move back to DeLand. So,
Moved back to DeLand, so therefore
yeah,
you grew up in DeLand,
I
and
did. I grew up in DeLand and Orange City, so I bounced back and forth a lot between these two towns, which is great because I've had the opportunity since coming back to Volusia County Schools to serve both of them. So I'm a Bulldog alumni. Um, you, but I grew up playing DeLand Little League. When I lived in Orange City, I played Orange City Little League. So a lot of friends on both sides of the town. What's weird
right,
now is that their kids are starting to go here, so I'm having to answer for those kind of things.
right, right,
A lot of I know your daddy conversations.
right. I'm with you on that one. Yeah, yeah. And how many children do you have?
Two, I got two daughters. I got a one that just turned 6 about 2 weeks ago, Evelyn, and Amelia is my little one. She'll be 3 in about 2 weeks.
And have we started talking any type of sports or dance or
Oh
anything like that
man,
with them?
Evelyn's done dance and she did soccer. And I think she really likes soccer, but nothing really organized yet. We did some youth soccer stuff, but it was more like a skills camp kind of thing. So we're trying to find out where she likes it, where she kind of fits in. She does everything at the house from dancing around the house to a lot of art and drawing, um, to kicking the ball around in the backyard and running around. So we'll figure it out. Amelia, my little one, if I could say a sport, soccer. She loves to kick that ball, and she's got a heck of a right foot for a soon to be 3 year old.
Right. And I saw both of them give their acting debut not too long ago to the
Yes.
skipping in the bathroom
Look,
thing.
there. I had to explain to my 6 year old that she just wanted to say like, "Oh, Daddy, can I just tell them that we're making a video?" I said, the teenagers aren't going to know what that is. You got to tell them what a TikTok, And I said the kids will know what a TikTok is. So she
Right.
was really embarrassed to be like, "I'm making a TikTok," but it was really funny. So now I
Right.
think we're going to have to make some more soon. I think I've promised Coach Kells some follow up videos for Life of a Discipline AP at home.
Okay. For those of you that don't know what we're talking about, go back and watch the morning announcements. I don't know what the date was, but Mr. Carter did a video for the morning announcements where his daughters were skipping in the bathroom making a TikTok video. So it was kind of funny, and
I think
thankfully
I
they were
tweeted
in
it
it
out
and
there
they
too. If you don't want to go all the way back, you can just go to Hey Mr. Carter VCS
oh, there you
on
go.
Twitter. So
There you
I
go.
think it's
Yeah,
out there somewhere.
it was definitely kind of funny, and they're both adorable. So
Oh,
it's definitely worth.
look, those two kids are rambunctious. So it's funny, how many times I come home and I'm like so used to dealing with discipline with teenagers, and then I go back and I have one kindergartner and one that's not even in VPK yet, and trying to be like, all right, I can't talk to you the way I would talk to my 16-year-old, 17-year-old
Right,
student. So
right, right. Yeah, different world for sure.
definitely.
And I know that you already mentioned that you played Little League and baseball and stuff growing up. Did you play any other sports as you were growing up as a little kid?
I know I played flag football a couple of years. I had uncles that gave me a hard time when I got to high school about not playing football, but for me, I was such a baseball junkie. I mean, I was playing baseball 11 and a half months out of the year. So it was, little league, for a while. And then when I started getting to the travel ball, the AAU stuff, it was, AAU all the way through December, and then high school tryouts and, playing high school ball in the springtime. So for me, it was, I knew what I was good at, and I wanted to stick it out. So yeah, I know I played flag football like maybe 2 years, but I was playing with kids that all went on to go play high school, and some of them went to play college football, but they were all my neighborhood buddies from here in Orange City. So I was like, sure, I'll play flag football. I don't care. I didn't know anything about football at the time. I was just like, you get to tackle people, right? And they're like, well, this is flag. So no, you don't get to tackle people. And somehow I ended up playing running back, but I was slow, so I didn't understand. And the guy that was quarterback went on to go play quarterback at Navy for 4 years and set touchdown records for them. And I'm like, what'd you need me
Is
for?
that Candido?
Yeah, it was Craig Candido.
Okay.
So it was kind of one of those things. I'm like, I played with Craig growing up because we all grew up in Orange City. And so when it was like, yeah, let's go play flag football, I was like, sure, everyone else in the neighborhood is.
Right. Okay. All right. So you were a baseball guy 24/7.
Yeah, and it's funny because I'm such a sports junkie. Like, I'm a huge soccer fan. I love to play and watch a lot of golf. Baseball was the only thing I really gravitated to in terms of organized sports. I mean, I played stuff in the neighborhood. I had friends that played soccer, so we'd go up to Valentine Park, or we'd go over to Sperling and kick the balls around, and But yeah, as far as organized sports, baseball was my jam.
Baseball was your jam. And I know you've done some coaching too, right?
I did. I was a head JV, and then eventually a head varsity baseball coach up in Jacksonville at White High School, which was a challenge because like I said, I grew up in a town playing for DeLand High School, which has always had a pretty good baseball team prior to university, mind you. So it was interesting, growing up and playing there. Baseball seemed fairly passionate, and it seemed to be a priority. So when I was coaching in Jacksonville, the school where I was at, it was a big time football, basketball, track kind of school. And baseball wasn't as popular. So it was difficult for me as a coach because I wanted us to be great and they wanted to play. And, but it was a great experience. I mean, I tested the waters of coaching, and it was funny because when I moved back to Volusia County, I have family that's still well connected with DeLand, and so they were like, at the time, coincidentally, like they were going through a coaching transition over at DeLand, and they're like, "Are you going to come back and coach?" And I said, that's a lot of pressure to go back to a school where one, I was from and I had played, but two, it was also like, man, those are kids that want to play, that want to be successful. Right. Where I was at, I'd have kids that hadn't played baseball since Little League that showed up, and when I was a JV coach, I had a head coach that was like, "Don't hit that kid a fly ball. I don't want him to get hurt." So it was fun though. I really enjoyed coaching. But at the time, I was head baseball coach, and I was also the IB coordinator at the school, and I had a baby on the way. So my wife was like, "Look, you got to pick one because the other priority is going to be family." And I said, "Absolutely." And at the time, there were other people that could be a good coach, and so I gave up coaching to follow the academic part because I think the school needed that.
Right. Okay. And as a parent, an adult, everything, how do you feel that not just sports but extracurricular as well? The clubs and all that. How do you feel that those things fit the high school mold to help kids prepare for life and help them get through high school?
Yeah, look, I'm a firm believer. It's invaluable to get involved in stuff at school. I mean, again, aside from baseball, if you take that out of what I had in high school, I was involved in student government. I was involved in leadership classes at the school, and so for me, those kind of interactions helped me when I got to college in the terms of being able to build the right kind of relationships with people. I ended up joining a fraternity in college. And those skill sets, I mean, that's an extracurricular at the collegiate level, but those skill sets about networking and working with the community and working with, and philanthropic, kind of activities really shaped who I was. So, I mean, for me at the high school level, being involved in more than just sports is fantastic if you can balance it. I will say this, I was very fortunate to be able to regurgitate information to keep my grades up, where I could learn it in class, turn around and spit it out on a test. That didn't necessarily translate when I got to college, and it took some time to get a strong foothold there. But definitely, the extracurricular stuff is extremely important, because even if you don't go to college, you're going to have to learn to work with people, and whether that's working with them in the teamwork model, or being able to communicate with people, like expectations that you have for a project. Again, it doesn't matter whether you're going off to be a Fortune 500 CEO, or you're going to, work in an auto shop, or you're going to be a carpenter or whatever. If you can't communicate with people about what the end goal is, and I think that's where those extracurriculars happen. I mean, you're going to have a hard time reaching your levels of, your dreams and your achievement levels. So, right. Yeah, I mean, the sporting aspect of it. I mean, look, I'm an AP. Is there competition? Sure. Is there, is it the same kind of competition? Like, I want to win over somebody else? No, I just want to be successful with my team. And even though I'm down in the discipline office, I still have an impact on academics and vice versa. So I think, yeah, like I said, I think the team mentality, the spirit of competition, wanting to be successful, those are all things that I can trail all the way back to Little League Baseball.
Right.
And then in high school. And again, the extracurricular stuff just gave me an opportunity to work on people skills, because, I had coaches that were like, that kid on the other team might be your friend at school, but they're the enemy on the field. And, and it was interesting because, then you go into a leadership aspect and you're like, you guys are all focused on one goal, but you have different hands in the project.
Right.
So yeah, I would trade any of those experiences. And I think anybody that's looking for opportunities, need look no further than their friends and their classmates. Look for things you're interested in. I mean, university has so much to offer. And again, I know we're working remotely right now, but I mean, it would surprise me if kids were still keeping up with each other with everything from leadership classes to Star Wars Club. I mean, there's so much to offer here at UHS if you're looking for it.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm obviously I know that that I'm a Gator fan, and I see the Gator hat, but
so the new purchase, Gators. By the way, I had to go back and find my favorite logo. So
but where did you go to college at?
I'm actually an Osprey. I went to University of North Florida. Okay. So I joke about it because I still get to keep my allegiance to the Gators because we didn't have a football team. So 9 times out of 10, you'll see me rocking Gator gear. But if the Gators actually match up against UNF, I try to root for UNF. But no, yeah, I went to University of North Florida, got a degree in English, and then went to Stetson for grad school, which is the DeLand kid was funny because I always grew up going, oh, those are the Stetson kids. And I was the local guy. And now I'm both. So
right. There you go. Yeah. And looking back now on high school, and again, we've already talked about how much you were involved with baseball.
Oh yeah.
Do you wish that you would have taken a different path and maybe not have spent so much time on baseball, or chosen a different path instead of baseball, or in addition to baseball?
I thought about that. Yeah. When you sent me those questions the other night, I kind of thought about it, and I had uncles again that gave me a hard time about not playing football, which I still to this day tell them. Look, I was at my freshman year, I was 5'3", $130 maybe. And then by the time I hit my sophomore year, I was 5'10", 165, so I went through a huge growth spurt because I'm also like the youngest kid in my class. I very easily could have been held back because my birthday was 2 days before the cutoff date. So, there were opportunities like, I had friends that played football, and I had friends that, played soccer, and at the time they had boys volleyball. And so when I was looking at that question last night, one of the things I really thought about was how much I enjoy being a fan. And so I wouldn't change, my focus on baseball necessarily because, with baseball being a spring sport, man, I go into just about every home football game. I went to just about every home basketball game. I went to volleyball games. So I got to go watch all my friends play and support them in their season. And then they were able to come and see me. So I kind of, for me, that was my opportunity to kind of support my buddies. And it would have been difficult if I was playing, multiple sports. It's not to say that it's a bad thing. It was just, for me, like, I really enjoyed being able to go up and, cheer on my friends at their sports, just like they did for me at baseball.
Right. And I know that you're not in the traditional setting of a classroom anymore, but what is one thing that you hope that your students get from being in a Mr. Carter led environment?
I hope even in the discipline office, I say this all the time. I'm always looking out for their best interest. And sometimes because I have to give harsh judgment, or at least it comes across that way, or I have to set boundaries and expectations and say, if you cross this, these things will happen. I don't think that was any different in the classroom. I wasn't a huge disciplinarian in the classroom, but I built good relationships with students so that they knew that my priority was them. It wasn't like, I'm going to get you to pass the IB exam because there's money in it for me, or there's money in it for the school. It was always about, I want you to pass these exams because you're going to move on to the next level. And I want you to save money at the college level, for AP and IB particularly. But even when I worked with kids, at Ed White in intensive reading, it was, my goal is to get you your electives back so that you're not taking remedial courses. So I think that's my thing, is as long as students understand that what we do, and I'm using we as the collective of UHS, I mean, what we're here to do is to get them what they need. And sometimes it takes a little tough love. Sometimes it takes a high five in the hallway. And I think that's the one thing I would say. When I was a classroom teacher, I built those relationships so the kids understood I was looking out for them, not for myself.
Okay. And obviously everyone watching this video, no matter where their allegiance is, we all know that university is better than DeLand, but what is the best part about working at university?
Honestly, it's the diversity. I really like that we have such a diverse group of kids here. We have kids from all walks of life here, from different neighborhoods. And I will say this, coming from, Ed White, for example, I grew up at DeLand as a kid, and, DeLand's full of tradition. And when I went to Ed White, a school that had been around since the 70s, I was like, all right, cool. They're going to have some traditions. And it was so weird for me because students were from the same neighborhood, but had been so transient and bouncing around Jacksonville, their allegiances were to other schools. So I would have kids that would wear like a rival sweatshirt to Ed White. And I'm like, what are you doing? They're like, well, I ain't from here, and it's like, well, wait a second, you're here now. And I think that's what I like, I really like about UHS is we got kids from Deltona, from DeBary, from Orange City, and, everybody is a Titan. Nobody, I don't see anybody like rocking like, oh, here's my, again, my own allegiance is as an alumni, but I don't see anybody rocking a big DeLand sweatshirt. I don't see anyone rocking a Pine Ridge or Deltona. I mean, everybody's got their Titans gear on. Everybody's got their orange on in some form or fashion. So I really like that, even though we're a very diverse community, we're all still part of the Orange Army, man. We're really all about the Titans, which is great.
It is. It really is.
Yeah.
And to those people that are watching this video, whether they're students, community members, parents, your former classmates over at that green and gold place, whoever it might be, what do you have to say to them in this unique time that we're going through right now?
I have been singing the praises of our teachers and students. I mean, honestly, I've said it several times to people here in the office that if kids wanted to be on virtual school, they would have signed up. And so I really think the kids have made a great adjustment to what's going on and working with teachers to be successful. I cannot speak highly enough of our teaching staff here on campus in terms of what they've been able to do to keep kids on track. I mean, we're keeping the educational ball rolling. The part that stinks, and I think everybody would agree with this, is that we're missing out on the things that make high school right now. The extracurriculars, the sporting events, the events that are up in the air in terms of prom and graduation at this point and how that's going to work. it's frustrating because I know those are the things that kids will remember the most. Teachers will always have an impact. There will always be teachers that, stick in a kid's mind about who helped me the most or who was a person I struggled the most with. But, the things that really ingratiate students to a campus are going to be those things that they do outside of the classroom. Whether it's participating in that sport or in planning the event or just going to the event. So that's, I think, the tough part. But I think everything else, academically, I think we're doing really well. I think, early in this process, the university was leading the county in quite a few of the statistical numbers in terms of hours logged, coursework completed. And I don't see us slowing down on that trend. I really think it's a testament to, our kind of work ethic here at the U.
All right. And here's a question you didn't have a chance to get prepared for.
Yes.
Unless you've watched.
I didn't really prepare for any of these. I'm a very good extemporaneous speaker.
Okay.
Which is why I'm so long-winded.
So if you could have dinner with any 4 people, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
4 people, dead or alive. Am I the only person attending said dinner? Or
You are the only person.
Okay.
Other than those 4.
Well, there's some family people I would bring back if my kids were there because they never got to meet them. But
you're the only one.
I think one would be my great grandfather. Just because of the stories I'd heard from my dad about how he was such an avid outdoorsman, and how my dad's like, if you'd ever met him, he would have been your lifelong hunting and fishing buddy. So I think that's definitely one. I would also probably want to sit down. Oh man, you did catch me off guard. Honestly, I'd love to sit down with someone like a good coach, like a Steve Spurrier kind of coach, a guy that's got some personality, that wasn't afraid to be a little boisterous, but also at the same time knew how to motivate people. Spurrier went to that Florida program and it was in shambles in the 80s and early 90s, and he really turned it around. So for me, from a school standpoint, I was at a school that was not a very successful school when I was in Duval County, but I would love to see how to motivate kids, to get them to where they want to be. Because sometimes I can get them where they need to be, but getting them where they want to be and how to change that mentality. So I think sitting down with Spurrier would be a good one. Oh, good gracious. Let's see. I'm trying to think of other leaders. Man, I don't know, Mr. Weaver, who would you pick?
Well, I picked my great grandfather. I picked a coach, Dan Gable. I picked Madonna, and I picked Napoleon. So
okay, well, those are good. All right, well, along those same lines, I would sit down with Jimi Hendrix. I'm a huge classic rock fan. I mean, I listen to everything, mind you. But I'd be curious. The guy was such an innovator with music. I mean, I think he really took, rock and roll and sent it in a different direction. I mean, we moved. He's the guy that I envisioned moving away from the rockabilly kind of 50s country and into like that, 60s, kind of guitar work. And so I think he would be interesting to sit down with, although I'd be afraid what we'd be eating, knowing that it's Jimi Hendrix. Yeah. And, world leaders, man, maybe Gandhi. I know that's kind of a weird, kind of a stretch out there, but I think it'd be interesting to talk to him about his impact on people, in terms of, nonviolent, pacifist, kind of approach, but motivating people to change and to rise up and to, move out of the shackles of oppression of British rule. So I think it'd be interesting to talk about, again, those same kind of things that I'd mentioned from a coaching standpoint, but just with the standpoint of how do we motivate people to rise up to the occasion and to do so without it being this show of extravagance and this like, hey, look at me, look at what I'm doing. I'm revolting against this. It's more along the lines of, this is my cause and I want you to buy into it because at the end of the day, it's what's good for all of us, not what's good for me.
Right. Yeah, no doubt. That'd be a great mix. And And I just do want to clarify, maybe I should have clarified this when I got interviewed. I'm not necessarily a Madonna fan. Just want to clarify that.
Yeah, no, it's
Just
okay.
she's been an icon for however many years. So
Well, and I feel like some of the music that I listen to, like, again, I listen to a lot of punk and a lot of metal. I won't lie. So I feel like it'd be weird to have conversations with some of them because I don't feel like, you know, they've got cult kind of followings, and that's not what kind of following I'm looking for.
right,
So,
right. Yeah.
but
But
anything
yeah,
else, sir?
no, that's about it unless you got something else.
I have a question for you.
Uh-oh.
Quarantine question.
Okay.
Okay, there's two of them. One, what has been your go-to quarantine snack?
Honestly, probably frozen pizza.
I
Yeah, I don't know why. It's easy probably is probably the number one thing.
okay. And then
That
yeah,
yeah,
so for me, it's been like because I think about it in terms of things I would not buy otherwise, and I'm in the
right.
same boat. The frozen product, taquitos. I love taquitos, and now I'm like, yes, I have a perfectly valid reason for buying them because I should be staying home and eating frozen food.
Yeah, right, right.
All right,
Yeah, you're never
second
home
question.
otherwise.
Second question. What is the most ridiculous thing that you have bought so far while being on quarantine?
Uh,
Who caught who off guard this time?
yeah. Yeah, you definitely did. I'm trying to think. Ridiculous.
Or out of the ordinary?
Out of the ordinary. Um, I don't know that I have, honestly.
Oh, I can tell you mine because it's coming. It should be here Monday next week.
What's
I
that?
bought a waffle iron. My kids are all like about breakfast right now, and since my wife works for virtual school, so she's at home anyways. She's like, I want a waffle iron, and I said, I do too. So that would be my ridiculous purchase. I bought a waffle iron for no reason other than we wanted a waffle iron.
Well, I can say it if we can throw the family into the mix. I was thinking strictly me, so
Yeah,
therefore I'll as a package deal, and she might be listening, so I might get in trouble for this.
yeah.
We did buy we did buy more Tupperware because you can never have enough Tupperware.
Got to store
So
stuff.
yeah, yeah, and that's what she said too. She's like, well, especially since we're home so much now, she wants to start packaging frozen food. So again, just like the frozen pizza, take it out of the Tupperware, nuke it, and we're
Yeah.
done. So,
Just to confirm, the kids had frozen pizza yesterday for lunch, so
yeah,
it's a popular choice.
yeah, okay. That was good though. No one's ever flipped the script on me like that. So,
Got to interview.
yeah,
Yeah, I had some questions I was thinking about on the way here, but hey, thanks for the opportunity, Mr. Weaver. I appreciate it. And if I can
no,
send a
thank
message out
you.
to all the Titans out there, hey guys, we're all in this together. We're all having our ups and downs with this, but we just want you to be safe. So, other than that, man, it's all about you guys.
It is all about you. All right, thanks, Mr. Carter, and we'll talk to you later.
See you later.